From the tiny Panzer I to the massive Maus, this is the complete catalogue of every German vehicle used in World War II. Let's start with light tanks. Panzer I, the training tank that went to war. Weighing only 5.4 tons, it was armed with twin 7.92mm MG-13 machine guns. Its armor was only 13mm thick, vulnerable to almost any anti-tank rifle despite being designed solely for training. It formed the bulk of the armored divisions during the invasion of Poland in 1939. Panzer II, the interim solution. Recognizing the Panzer I weakness, Germany introduced the Panzer II. It was upgraded with a 2cm KWK-30 Autok cannon capable of penetrating light armor. It was the primary tank of the Blitzkrieg in France, utilizing a radio in every vehicle to coordinate superior tactics. Against heavier French tanks, Panzer II Lux the Lynx, designated Panzer Campagne 20. This was a late-war fully tracked reconnaissance vehicle. Featured a completely redesigned chassis with overlapping road wheels and a top speed of 60 km/h designed to scout. Ahead of the Panzer divisions, Panzer III 5T, the Czech acquisition. After annexing Czechoslovakia, the WWII adopted the LT-35. It featured a pneumatic transmission and a 3.7 cm gun. It was mechanically complex, but served reliably in the early campaigns alongside German designs. Panzer III 8T, the definitive light tank of the early war. Mechanically superior to the Panzer I and II, the Czech-built 38Ti was armed with a 37mm gun and featured riveted armor. Even after it became obsolete as a tank, its reliable chassis became the foundation for legendary tank destroyers like the Hetzer. Moving on to medium tanks, the backbone of the Blitzkrieg Panzer III early variants, the OSA through F. Designed as Germany's primary anti-tank vehicle. It was originally armed with a 3.7-900 gun to match the infantry's anti-tank guns. Set the standard for crew ergonomics with a 3-man turret that allowed the commander to focus on tactics. Panzer III late variants, the OPC J through N. As enemy armor improved, the Panzer III was upgraded with a long-barrel 50mm KWK-39 gun. Later versions like the ONK-N were fitted with a short 75mm howitzer for infantry support, serving until the end of the war. Panzer for short-barreled the OP-through F1. This was originally the heavy support tank. It mounted the short-barreled 7.5cm KWK-37 L24 howitzer. While excellent at destroying bunkers with high explosive shells, its low velocity made it ineffective against heavily armored enemy tanks like the Matilda or T-34. Panzer IV long-barrel, the OSPF-2 through J to counter the Soviet T-3 for shock. The Panzer IV was upgraded with the high-velocity 7.5cm KWK-40 gun. This upgrade allowed it to penetrate Allied armor at standard combat ranges. It became the most produced German tank of the war with over 8,500 units built. Panzer V Panther, the ASP-DG, Germany's direct answer to the T-34. The Panther weighed 45 tons and featured thick sloped frontal armor. Its main weapon, the 7.5cm KWK-42, actually had better penetration stats than the Tiger Eyes gun. It is widely considered the best medium tank design of World War II. Now, the heavy tanks, the legends of World War II. Tiger I, the Panzer VI, the icon of terror, weighing 54 tons. It was armed with a deadly 8.88cm KWK-36 gun and protected by 100mm of flat frontal armor. In 1942, it was virtually invulnerable to Allied guns, requiring Shermans and T-34s to close to suicidal point-blank ranges to disable it. Tiger II, King Tiger, the Tiger OP, the apex predator of the war, weighing nearly 70 tons. It combined a thick armor of a heavy tank with the sloped design of the Panther. Its long 8.88cm KWK-43 gun was the most powerful anti-tank gun mounted on a turret capable of destroying any Allied tank from over 2 kilometers away. Next, the tank destroyers. Germany built more tank destroyer variants than any other nation. Panzer Jogger 1, Germany's first attempt at a self-propelled anti-gun. It mounted a Czech 4.7-900 gun on an obsolete Panzer I chassis. That was a stopgap measure that proved the concept of mobile tank hunting was viable. Marta 2 built on the Panzer II chassis. As the Panzer II became obsolete, the chassis was repurposed to mount the potent 7.5cm PaK-40 anti-tank gun. It gave the Wehrmacht a mobile heavy punch on the Eastern Front. Marta 3 built on the reliable Czech 38T chassis. Produced in large numbers, the Marta 3 mounted either Soviet-captured 76 mm guns or German 75mm PaK-40s. It was the workhorse of the anti-tank battalion's mid-war Hetzer. Jagged Panzer 38T, small, easily concealed, and deadly. The Hetzer mounted a 75mm gun on a widened 38Ti chassis with highly sloped armor. It was cheap to produce, and its low profile made it an ambush nightmare for Allied crews. Stog 3 short-barreled, Sturmgeschütz 302, originally designed as an assault gun for infantry support. Lacked a turret, giving it a very low profile and fired high explosive shells from a short 75mm gun. STOG-3, long barrel upgunned with a high-velocity 75mm cannon. The Stoogie-3rd became the deadliest tank killer of the war statistically. Stogs destroyed more Allied tanks than the Tigers and Panthers combined. STOG-4, essentially a Stog Superrusher mounted on a Panzer IV hull. This was a logical standardization to keep production lines moving when Panzer III chassis production ceased. JAG Panzer IV, a specialized low-profile tank hunter based on the Panzer IV chassis. The late versions, known as the Panzer 470, mounted the Panther's long 75mm gun, making them exceptionally dangerous, moving to the heavy tank destroyers, mobile bunkers designed to kill heavy armor. Nishon, the Rhino. It mounted the deadly long 88mm gun on a hybrid Panzer III-quarters chassis. It had very thin armor and an open top designed to engage enemies from extreme distances where it could not be seen. JAG Panther, arguably the best tank destroyer of the war. Built on the Panther chassis, it combined excellent speed, thick sloped armor, and the long 88mm gun. It was fast enough to relocate and strong enough to take a hit. Ferdinand Elephant, built on rejected Porsche Tiger hulls. It featured 200mm of frontal armor and a complex petrol-electric drive system. While formidable in a defensive line, it was mechanically unreliable and initially lacked a machine gun for defense against infantry. JAG Tiger, the heaviest armored fighting vehicle to see service, weighing 71 tons and armed with a colossal 12.8 cm Pak 44 gun, could knock out any tank in existence, even through buildings. However, its massive weight caused frequent breakdowns and fuel shortages. Next, self-propelled artillery, mobile firepower. Sturmpanzer I Bison, a 150mm heavy infantry gun mounted on a tiny Panzer I chassis. It was crude, top-heavy, and overloaded the engine, but provided mobile heavy fire early in the war. West, the Wasp, a 105mm light field howitzer mounted on a modified Panzer II chassis. Small and agile, it supported Panzer divisions with rapid indirect fire. Hummel, the Bumblebee, a heavy 150mm howitzer mounted on a dedicated chassis combining parts of the Panzer III and IV. It was the heavy hitter of German mobile artillery batteries. Sturm Tiger, a specialized urban warfare vehicle built on a recovered Tidri chassis. It fired a massive 380mm rocket-propelled depth charge. It was designed to level entire buildings with a single shot during the Warsaw Uprising. Let's look at the Flak Panzer's mobile anti-aircraft defense. Flak Panzer IA, simple 2 cm flak, 38 gun mounted on a Panzer I. The crew had almost no protection and the vehicle was unstable during firing. The Whirlwind, a Panzer IV with chassis with a distinctive open-top hexagonal turret housing for 20mm cannons. It created a wall of lead, devastating against low-flying aircraft and soft ground targets. Ostwind, the East Wind, similar to the Wiebelwind, but armed with a single more powerful 3.7 cm flak, 43 gun, offering better range and hitting power. A prototype Flak Panzer based on the Panther chassis. It featured a fully enclosed turret with twin 3.7, 900 guns, offering the crew full armor protection, though it never entered full production. Moving to logistics and support. SDKFC 251, Hanomag, the definitive German half-track. It carried Panzer grenadiers into battle, protecting them from small arms fire. It had over 20 different variants, equipping anti-tank guns and rockets. SDKFC 234 Puma, an 8W-wheeled heavy armored car, fast, silent, and armed with a 50mm gun that featured a second driver's seat facing backward, allowing it to retreat at full speed without turning around. Kübelwagen, the German equivalent of the Jeep designed by Ferdinand Porsche. It was a simple, light rear-wheel drive utility car. Unlike the Jeep, it was not four-wheel drive, but its lightweight allowed it to be lifted out of mud by the crew. An amphibious version of the Kübelwagen. It was the most mass-produced amphibious car in history, featuring a propeller that flipped down from the rear to cross rivers. KTRAD, a unique motorcycle tank hybrid designed for paratroopers that could be dropped by aircraft. It was used to tow guns, lay cables, and navigate the thick mud of the Eastern Front that trapped wheeled vehicles. Goliath tracked mine, the remote-controlled demolition vehicle carrying 60 kilograms of explosives that was steered via a long wire to drive into bunkers or under tanks before detonating. Finally, the Wonder Weapons, the projects that arrived too late. Maus, the heaviest tank ever built, weighing 188 tons. It mounted a 128mm main gun and a 75mm coaxial gun. Only 2 prototypes were completed. It was a moving fortress, but would have been a logistical nightmare to transport. 100 part of the Intuiklong Series 2, standardized German tank production. The E00 was a super heavy tank competitor to the Maus. The hull was completed, but the turret was never fitted before the war. Ended. Landkreuzer P-1000 Rat, a proposed land cruiser weighing 1,000 tons that it would have mounted naval battleship guns while never built. It represents the extreme megalomania of German late-war engineering.